Second, to authorize the renewal of the sales tax use therein. It's meeting on Tuesday, January the 12th, 2021.
So move.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion from the audience? From the board? All in favor, yes?
Yes.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Thank you, Ms. Lou.
Thank you. Congratulations again on all those refinances. Worked out well. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving down to item number 3, considering approval of policies. Ms. Cynthia Osmond.
Good afternoon. In your folder, you have 9 policies that were presented in November. I'm asking for the approval on those 9. They were emailed to you earlier.
Yes, ma'am.
Second.
Yeah, we got a motion and a second. Any discussion from the audience? From the board? All in favor, yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Thank you, Ms.
You
Osmond.
also have 2 policies that are listed there that will be for consideration. They will be emailed to you, and I will ask for a vote in January. The student fees will only add the virtual fees that are being charged by schools.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving down to item number 4, consider recommendations from District Discipline Policy Review Committee. Mr. Todd Geis and Ms. A. Moore.
Thank you, Mr. Hicks, board. Mr. Moore is unable to be here today because he's tied up at the office, but Dr. Coker asked us to chair a committee of our District Discipline Policy Review Committee. During the most recent legislative session, actually the special session, the legislature and then Governor Edwards later signed House Bill 83, which is now Act 48, that addresses changes in the Louisiana Discipline Code and mandates several changes, including discipline of virtual students, and then issues dealing with due process for suspension and expulsion, as required by Act 48. So current Louisiana law asks the District Discipline Policy Review Committee to convene each year to review our discipline policy, district policy on discipline. So in your mail out and in your folders today, you got a handout there of our committee meeting agenda on December the 1st. Also, the minutes. I've also attached the committee members that serve on that committee, and that committee is defined by law who makes up that committee. A lot of that is peer elected by teachers and other members across the district. So it's not a committee that's appointed by the president of the board or by myself or Dr. Coker. The law is specific on who serves on that committee. So anyway, Mr. Como was on that committee here representing the board. And again, we convened last week and went over the district policy manual, which is contained for discipline, which is contained in Section J. But more specifically, we looked at policies JD dealing with discipline, policies JDD dealing with suspension, and policies JDE dealing with expulsion. And I think you can see in the handout that Hammonds and Seals, Elmer has gone through with his partners, and they have made some suggestions that are highlighted in yellow. Forethought that we normally use to do our policies. They have some suggestions in here, but it's basically right out of Act 48 that is in blue and underlined throughout all 3 of these policies. So the committee voted to bring these to you. This is our recommendation. We're required by law to make any changes to that by December 31st, and that's why we're here today. And today I ask that you consider approving the recommendations from the District Discipline Policy Review Committee that you have in front of you.
Okay. Do we have a motion and a second to consider recommendations to the Discipline Policy Review Committee?
I move to approve the policy as presented.
Second. A motion and a second. Any discussion from the audience? From the board?
I just want to make a statement that hopefully in the future, that if I'm expected to vote on a policy, that I can get it in advance so that I can read it, rather than having to vote on it and then read it.
Did you not get this in your mail out?
No. And if, you know,
Already had.
I think we got,
you want it
Been
back,
sent through email and through mail. You should have gotten it from both parties.
I apologize, I didn't get it,
I apologize if you didn't.
Okay.
The only reason this came out of the session, it's got to be done by December 31st. That's why the need to push it through. So, my understanding it was emailed out, Reverend McCoy, but we'll have to check on that.
I left it on
It was a huge packet of email that went to y'all. When I say a lot of attachments and everything,
I apologize, Doc, I didn't see it.
I got mine.
And I went back yesterday and looked again, but I did see, like, I got 3 copies of the agenda, because there were 3 amendments to the agenda, but I didn't get. Now, listen, I'm a year older, so I'll go back and check.
We're trying to send everything out through emails because it's
Right.
so much more efficient. I know that Eileen has
Right,
been
that's
sending
paper.
those out. So go back. They also CC it to me,
Yes.
and I looked at everything to make sure that it was on the agenda of what y'all should be getting. So it should be there.
When I tried to open mine, I got a little notice that if you open this, you will do damage to your computer. So I didn't open it.
I don't blame
I
you.
don't know about
So I
that.
came by and got a copy.
Well,
to read.
that's an Eileen question as far as what
Well-
that's being sent out. But it's large. I mean,
It was large.
these are big files that are coming to y'all also.
Well, you know, and it's not that I don't trust the document, it's just that I would feel more comfortable having read it. You know, I should have read my marriage license before I said. Y'all tell my wife.
We'll get in trouble.
I'm already in trouble.
Any more discussion by the board?
Todd, my understanding is this is dictated by the legislature, right?
Yes, sir.
And this is something strictly regarding the virtual instruction policy.
Yes, sir. Act 48 required us to make sure that Louisiana law requires us to analyze our district policies of discipline every year. Act 48 specifically asked us to go in and address virtual instruction. Dr. Coker had presented a plan that our team had put together at the beginning of the year that certainly was detailed. But as we've gone through the virtual process, we're learning every day. So this is a collaborative effort with that committee and others. And of course, Hammond and Seals, their suggestions on what they've seen through working with our clients that we bring to you today.
Okay.
But it is, to answer your question, Mr. Manley, it is required by Act 48 of the legislature.
Any more discussion by the board?
Well, let me just say this, Mr. Hicks, also. If you would, please be looking for, I think it's Wednesday afternoon is when we normally will email all of the documents out to you. And it's very possible that some things could be added after that, which we will be sending individually. The reason we went to the email is because the snail mail was not getting to you, and we knew that y'all weren't getting the hard copies. And because things are time sensitive, Thursday at noon is when Peggy is usually ready to finish up everything that we need to be able to send out to you. And we've tried to do a little bit better job within our staff of not adding things after that to you. It's possible we could take some things off, but we're not adding anything to you for that. So if you do not receive that email by Thursday, then please call Peggy and we will make sure of why it's not getting there and get you this information, because I want you to be aware of all this.
Right. Sure. So, Doc, my understanding is we're receiving the email, which I got. Okay, we're also supposed to be getting a hard copy in the mail because I haven't got the hard copy.
Because the hard copy we quit doing
Right.
because we couldn't get, it wasn't getting there.
So we're not getting the hard copy.
No.
We're getting the email on.
You're going to get the email, and then you're going to get a hard copy when you come to the board meeting. Everything that we discuss here will be in hard copy here. So that's how we figured that would be a better way of making sure you had the information. But if you don't get the email on by Thursday, then we need to know.
Well, it's a group email. Everybody should be
It
getting
is.
the same
Yeah.
email.
Yeah,
So.
I got it.
I got it.
Any more discussion? All in favor, yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no?
Do we have a motion, Jerry?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I got confused on all the discussion, Jerry, sorry about that.
I invented that. Opposed, no? Okay, motion passes. Moving down to item number 6, the Finance Committee report, Mr. Todd Geis.
Yes, Mr. Sixth Board, I will be very brief on this. We did meet, Ms. Meekus is going to follow up with some information. We did meet on November the 17th. That says August the 18th. That is a typo. November the 17th. In our regular Finance Committee meeting, we received the Finance Committee report, the investment report from Ms. Meekus. We tabled one of an issue that we'll come back to dealing with fixed assets. Then we had a discussion related to staffing as we move forward based on enrollment, and then the committee decided that we would come back to that after our February 1st enrollment count to see if there's any adjustments we need to make moving forward as I begin to staff for the 21-22 school year. So the committee did not take any action. So my report today is just that, a report from the committee. Like I said, Ms. Meekus is going to follow up with more detailed numbers of her report in that committee. So that's all I've got, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Moving down to item number 7, financial report for October the 31st, 2020, Ms. Meekus.
I feel like this is just a continuous, unusual year that we're in. Each month, I expect the next time we talk that things may look a little different, may be a little different. We're just being cautious. But if you'll look, I'll go ahead and skip all the way down to the percentage of fund balance year to date. If you look on your first page, all the way to the bottom, the little bitty blue numbers, it's just unheard of at this time of the year. We're at 104%, 118%, 111% of fund balance. And that's a culmination of a couple of reasons. One, as we had talked about in the previous months, our MFP revenue is coming in higher now than what we anticipate it will be for the remaining part of the year, because it's this time of the year, it's based on the student count from February. Our student count was quite a bit lower than what we had anticipated. I believe we were down right around 500 students. So with that being said, we budgeted for a lower revenue than what is actually coming in, because we didn't want to budget money that is not ours to keep.
What's the student count again, Regina? I couldn't hear you.
We're down approximately 500 from the February count, which is what the MFP is based on. So whenever you all adopted the budget back in September, we did take into consideration that the student count, we did not anticipate the student count to be what the state puts in the MFP formula. But nevertheless, when the revenue comes in, they send the revenue the first part of the year based on their number. We just have to be proactive and adjust on our side. You take that coupled with increase in local revenues and decrease in expenditures, because we're being very conservative right now. There's just so much unknown going on around us. We don't want to overcommit. If there were to be a change, say in the local revenue stream, we've only seen increases when the world around us is telling us it's going to bottom out. So we're trying to be very cautious in proceeding with that and not overcommitting ourselves. We're not taking for granted, we're up right now in our local revenues, but we're just being very conservative with it. That's all we can do. We're covering the needs, but
So
being conservative.
are you saying then our conservative posture has us in a good position right now, based on, even though we are 500 students shy of our February count, but because you're taking the conservative posture, we feel okay fiscally?
Yes, sir. When we adopted the budget back in September, we were still in such an unknown
Mm-hmm.
area because we weren't really back to school yet.
Correct.
So we didn't know what our student counts were going to look like. We didn't know what that would be 2 weeks into school, or if we went from phase 2 to phase 3, or back like we have done since school started. But we did not cut staff further than our original projections intentionally. But there are quite a few positions that we have been unable to fill. And the flip side of that is it will make a difference in our budget. So while we budgeted to be down 200 students, we originally anticipated 100.
Okay.
Then with all of the changes and unknowns, we doubled that. We're a little bit more than that down in our student count, but with the planned decrease in staff coupled with the unplanned, unable to fill positions, I feel very confident. And if you've seen from the financial statements, we are in good financial position, and
Levels
we're
out.
just proceeding conservatively.
That makes sense.
That's the scripture in the Bible that says all things work together for the good of those that love the Lord.
So if you'll notice, the current ending fund balance for the general fund is $29,220,000. For the District 1 M&O is $20,534,000. I won't read all of these to you. You'll see quite a different story with child nutrition, and I know I highlight this every time we look at it, but child nutrition is really taking the brunt of the unknown.
Yeah.
You know, she only gets reimbursed. Her revenue comes from meals served, with so many kids being out, so many kids being in virtual school, the AB schedules. She's done an excellent job at planning and keeping her program going, but it's not going to be as pretty financially as some of the other areas, and definitely not as pretty as it typically is. But I would say, you know, she has a fund balance. She's not in danger, and times like this is what we have fund balances for, so we can continue operating in the unknown. We don't have to be reactive. We can take a good look and make a plan and go forward and keep our programs going. So I did just want to bring that to your attention. I didn't want you to be alarmed looking through there.
I have a question maybe for you, either Dr. Coker. If a student is virtual and they're not enrolled in the physical building, and if they choose to go by and pick up a lunch, are they able to do so?
We do. We have two places, one on the west side, one on the east side.
Yes.
For all of our virtual kids, 2 times a week, they can come and pick up enough meals to last them for the days that we would normally serve.
Yes.
Yes.
Where's the place on the east side at, Doc?
Richwood Middle School, I believe. That's where she's serving out of, and I don't see Jolene here. Does anyone know any different on that?
I don't.
You think it's Jack Hayes? Okay. Well, it may be that and the on Thomas where the school food service office is.
Do we have anybody, do we have a participation, a decent participation?
Yes, she had mentioned that in our directors meeting. It's not as many as we'd like to see. I want to say 400 or 500 are receiving meals, and that may be families and not students. And so, you know, when you look at 3,000 students that are in the virtual program, we're still not feeding the numbers that we would hope to be feeding for that.
If, I know it looks like we're gonna be doing virtual in next year as well.
Looks like it.
Is it a possibility that, because her budget is based on the number of meals that are served, And is it possible that we could do a PSA that, just to remind parents?
Sure, and she's actually looking for other means of being able to do this as we move into the next school year. She'll be bringing some of those recommendations to y'all a little bit later.
Regina Harold asked me to turn that air down a little bit. He was hot.
I didn't turn it off, I just turned
You
the
would throw me under
fan
the bus.
down.
Harold said, Greg, it's hot in here. I said, I'll
because
take
I
care of
was
that,
having
Harold.
trouble here.
I just told you, you can hang a hog in
Harold said he was hot.
I'm still sweating.
I knew better than to turn it off, or you'd have me on the personnel.
So he and I
committee
both were
next
hot.
month.
I couldn't hear.
I believe that's everything.
Do you want to give us, this is part of the finance, so I've asked Regina, I think that we actually sent an email to Diana Tubman today on the check for our BOLI.
I wasn't gonna ask.
It's here. It should be
I
coming.
know, today you should ask.
Today is the day to ask. So Regina, will you kind of give them a recap on what the insurance for BOLI Elementary's fire catastrophe is going to be?
Okay, I'll just read you the first line of the first paragraph of the letter that I sent to Diana this morning. On behalf of the Ouachita Parish School Board, I would like to request payment of insurance proceeds for $9,082,433.80 to fund claims, cost, and recovery of the losses. So that settlement represents, there are several items that go into that, and I have a breakdown. If anyone's interested, we can sit down and kind of go over it. I won't get into that much detail today, but basically it covers a settlement of everything remaining from the loss, but that is not only building, that's an agreement, of the meetings that we had going through the property replacement cost. It covers architect fees for the new build. It includes code upgrades, inventory payments, including personal inventory payments that went out to the teachers and staff for the items they had on site. It includes the extra expenses from the temporary site, which would be not only the rental of the building, the renovation of the classrooms. We had a few extra people in there, like an extra teacher, because of the size of the classrooms. We had to have an additional teacher that we wouldn't have had to have in our original. Because of the traffic situation, we ended up with an additional bus route because they couldn't run 2 routes like they were doing at the original building. It also includes a little bit of an allowance where we had made repairs at Swartz Upper and Richwood High School related to hail damage in that same storm, where they had sent us an initial payment. The invoice was more, so they just settled up in this one, that they treated this storm like one large claim.
One deductible.
One deductible, right. There was also our deductible that we transferred over immediately after the storm, and they had advanced us $1 million within the first week after the storm to help us cover some of those initial costs. So with all of that taken into consideration, we were able to go through, and I believe I'm very, very pleased with the settlement, satisfied that we were covered. They've been helpful, informative, helped us walk through this situation, and I know with the exception of Mr. Manley, a lot of us really didn't know where to start whenever we first had this loss. So the same people who showed up day one are who we're talking to now, and we're very pleased with that, and looking forward to finishing the rebuild in Boley, and I know Dr. Coker is excited to have the cash in the bank to cover that.
And I do
The
want to say
majority of that,
this,
I would say.
in talking with Diana this morning, she was very complimentary of Regina, our business department, for furnishing the massive amount of paperwork that goes along with a claim like this. If you were to see the amount of information that we have provided them, it's unreal. But that happens when you have these type of claims, and so very complimentary of Regina, her department, for getting the information and us being able to. I'm not going to say timely, but I'm going to say, because it has been a process of working through the process. And if y'all remember, we have worked this process, furnished them with the documents, and received more insurance money than what we originally looked at even a year ago. And so that's because of the documentation and the tenacity that this business department has spent. So, a little over $10 million is what it's going to end up being. And we are certainly appreciative, and we need every dime of it. With the new school that is being built right now, we will need every bit of it to be able to put into this new facility. So, Regina, thank you for all of your work, and I know it has been a lot of phone calls and a lot of sending back and forth. So we certainly appreciate the job you've done on this.
Okay. All right, we got a motion and a second on the financial report for October 31st.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion from the audience? From the board? All in favor, yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Moving down to item number 8, resurface Sterlington High School tennis courts bid. Mr. Ken Slusher.
Yes, with the next board members, Mr. Mandel asked that we get a quote for the to resurface the two tennis courts at Sterlington High School. There's one pair of the original courts that was built when the school was built. I have got two contractors that told me that they couldn't bid on it because it was too far away from their office and they wouldn't come for two tennis courts. So I did get a bid from Quality Courts out of Baton Rouge to redo the two tennis courts. The base total was $14,850, and then on the add alternate, two new tennis nets was $185 each, which would put the total at $15,220.
Okay. We have a motion and a second to accept this offer.
I'll move we resurface the tennis courts, the two tennis courts at Sterlington High School for Mr. Slusher's bid and recommendation.
What about the nets, man?
And nets too with the add alternate.
Yeah.
I second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion from the audience? From the board?
Question. The funding source would be which revenue?
The M&O,
Yeah.
maintenance and operation.
Maintenance operation.
Yeah, and
Okay. Now, question is this. I know we're gonna be doing some bond work in the Sterlington area. That's not the high school, right? That's the middle school?
well, with the
Initially.
high school and the elementary initially,
But, okay, not now, okay.
not right now.
Well, I just mentioned that because I know back in February or March, I mentioned a couple of things that I needed to see done at the Richwood High School, specifically. And I know some of the administrators were sent down there to take a look. And of course, I went personally and took pictures as well. And there were some areas and some things that were in need of some attention. And I felt, after speaking with Dr. Coker and some others, that what needed to be done is beyond the ability of the personnel that's there in maintenance. And that's my opinion. Of course, I don't know everything. Obviously, if I did, I wouldn't be on the school board. You know,
That's
but-
a good observation.
but which one? I should be on the school board? But nonetheless, all I'm saying is that, and I always tell Greg, when I grow up, I want to be just like him, because he know how to get things done.
Well, thank you, man. I appreciate that.
But at the same time, I want to bring back to your attention that there are still some things that I feel that need to be addressed. And I would certainly like for us to, at our next school board meeting in January, if the Lord says the same and I'm still around, that we seriously address those items. And I'll get back with you and Dr. Coker and share with you what those things are. Because I don't want to leave here today and feel like I'm the black sheep of the family.
Well,
That's supposed to be a joke,
one of
folks.
the differences in this, of course, this comes out of M&O, it's not coming out of new sales tax. And we depleted the money we had in the old sales tax, so. Like
Listen,
roofs and the other things.
we'll take it where we can get it from.
You tell me where it comes from, that's what the hell we're doing, that's fine with me.
I'm gonna talk to my big brother,
Uh,
and he'll lead me through the process. But nonetheless, I'm not against this. I told Greg that I'm not against this. It's just that I certainly, would like some of the same type of consideration.
I understand,
Thank
we
you.
talked about that before,
We did.
indeed.
Right. Thank you.
Any more discussion from the board? All in favor, yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no? Motion carries. Moving down to item number 9, construction renovation projects report. Mr. Slusher?
Yes, sir, y'all should have in your folder a status report from TDA on, the new Bowles Elementary School and the Pine Crest roof replacement, as well as the Linville and Pine Crest are both 100% complete. I still have, some money on both jobs. They have to file a lien petition.
Do you have it?
I haven't got it.
Mr. Slusher, hang on just one second on that.
Okay.
Peggy, do you have that status report?
I don't have it.
I don't think any of us have that.
Well, that's my fault. I emailed Peggy and asked her to put it in the folder. I also did have in the Woodlawn. We need to go get some copies made.
Then I can get mine on the way out. That I'm speaking for me. I think I can.
The old bowling is 16% complete. And I said Pine Crest and Linville are both 100% complete. Those are the projects that TDA has. We also have a meeting tomorrow morning. I mailed y'all that. I got that email later. We're not getting one from here, but, our voting meeting is 9 o'clock tomorrow morning at the construction site. And if you hadn't been there, you're gonna be amazed at the work that's already been done.
How's their COVID issue going?
Do what?
I said, are they staying clear with the COVID?
Yeah, they are. And even though it's muddy and messy out there, they can't get concrete trucks these days. They shoot their sails and carrying it back and forth. The Woodlawn project is, it's going along good now. We finally got the engineer's approval of the wall that's blown down and it's back up. We're starting with it now, laying the brick around it. Laid the brick veneer and glazed brick both. The front entrance footings are forward, and plumbing contractors working, electrical contractors working. And the roofing, the music building begin next week. But also, we have a meeting at Woodlawn next Tuesday, the 15th, at 9 o'clock. You all of welcome to come to also. That's all I have, Mr. Hicks. I apologize for not having these to you. I'll stop them and give them to you myself next week.
And I think I saw on the Woodlawn Middle School weekly report that we get, they're about 65% complete with that, with the initial music, band and choir buildings. Okay?
Thank you, Ken. Moving right down to item number 10, evaluation of bids. We have none. Permission to bid, we have one bid number 2221, Chromebook Carts, all funds, $399 each. Mr. Bobby Jones.
Mr. Hicks, I'm just asking the board today to get permission to bid for Chromebook carts. I'm not sure that this is gonna come to fruition or if we're ever gonna go over the bid limit, but when you got 6,600 Chromebooks getting ready to come in, I'm just anticipating that we may have a need to put this out for bid. So I'd rather go ahead and do it now and not have to come back later.
Okay. We have a motion and a second to put this item out for bid.
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion from the audience? From the board?
Chromebook's gonna be in for the year end, or do we know yet?
Mr. Manley, I know we've gotten some invoices. We may get some in. I don't anticipate us getting all 6,600 in for the school before this year.
I think Mr. Miller might be able to address that a little bit better right now, but he may have just got some of the latest news on this.
As Dr. Coker said, right before this meeting, I'd received an email with a status update from Dell, and as of right now, 100% of our CARES Act Chromebooks have been shipped from Dell's production facility and received in their white glove facility. So they are in the process of working through those. I don't have an exact ETA of when they will be complete, but as soon as that's completed, we will have them shipped out, and hopefully we'll have some recommendations from a Chromebook work group that I've been chairing to facilitate the rollout and getting the Chromebooks into the students' hands and the teachers' hands as quickly as possible. So,
right, and the goal for the district was to be able to do this by the beginning of the second semester, which is around the 15th of January. It will be another massive task of getting 6,600 Chromebooks to 37 different facilities and then into the hands of the students. I will tell you that the work group that has been working on this, the rollout committee for our Chromebooks, includes representatives from all levels, all sides of the parish, all around the parish, and they have been putting together some really good information that we will be bringing back to our principals so that our principals will know how we're going to be able to distribute and get all of these Chromebooks out into our kids' hands. So that will be starting the 2021 school year as we come back from Christmas break. And Clint has taken a massive job again, and he and his department are doing, we're so blessed to have the people that we have in this district that can step up and take charge of things and to continue to move us forward. So certainly appreciate the job that Clint is doing along with his department. And the good news is it's at the white glove treatment part of Dell right now. That means they're going through every one of these and touching them, things that we don't have to do when they get here, yet we do have to make sure that they're coded, that they have the identification number for fixed asset and all of that on them, so that we will be able to keep up with these fixed assets and make sure we get them out and can account for them.
And,
So-
and the hard part is the logistics once they're on the ground here, because we have anywhere from just a handful to one location that's getting as many as 1,500. So logistically, there's a lot that's got to take place from when they are dropped into the school to getting in the hands of the students and teachers.
Well, we have 14,000 plus right now existing within our system, and these 6,600 will add to it. So every child
Should make us
in the
one-to-one.
district will have a one-to-one.
That is correct.
Chromebook.
Every student and every teacher, once this order is complete, will have a Chromebook assigned to them.
Is our existing computers or Chromebooks, are they Dell too?
We have a combination. The majority of them are Dells. We have a few Lenovo's and a few HPs, but the vast majority of them are Dells.
And most of these Chromes are touchscreen, which is really good for the kids to be able to navigate and to maneuver around. And so if there was ever a good problem, this is a good problem. The fact that we know that they are on their way and we should be receiving them real shortly now.
Are they drop shipped in here by what carrier?
I do not know. It's whoever Dell ends up using. That's handled completely through Dell. I know that the shipping does include liftgate service, depalletization, and getting them inside the school. So
I see.
wherever the principal decides they want them, they will have about at least 2 days advance notice on when they're shipping per location, and they'll do everything from there. So.
Jerry, it'd probably be a good carrier like FedEx that'll get the job.
I was worried about that because there's been a lot of them lost, if that's the case.
Any other questions about the Chromebooks?
Thank you.
Thanks, Clint.
Thank you.
How's the tree cutting coming at Lake Shore?
I just put the comment on that, we're gonna good. They got about a little half of them cut, they got a third of the stump ground up, that will smooth off, they look great. I probably got 9 phone calls, they look like that, and I just look real good.
Thank you, Bob Jones. Thank you. I know, I just want to say thank you.
With you.
Did y'all vote on the motion?
Did we do the motion vote on it?
No, I think we got, we down two
Okay.
to explain this, so we got a motion and a second to vote on it, but then we had a discussion, so all in favor, yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you, Ms. Jones.
Board.
Well, my report says the next meeting is January the 12th, 12 o'clock. But I'd like to thank everybody a very Merry Christmas, because we won't have a meeting unless we have an emergency one. But Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And that's my birthday, New Year, so I'm going to have a happy birthday.
All right.
Dr. Coker?
Well, thank you, Mr. Higgs, and I want to echo the same thing. We're going to do our very best not to have an emergency meeting where you have to come back in. And so y'all have a very, very Merry Christmas, and we are really looking forward to getting out of 2020 and getting into 2021.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna have you a Merry Christmas.
And if anybody wants to know, my birthday is the day after Christmas, so, you know.
Oh.
Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Meeting